All right, students, what we're going to do is I'm going to do some notes showing you how to graph a quadratic function by factoring. All right, that being said, so here we go. This is the notes that you would have seen in class already, but in case you missed it or in case you needed it to review, that's what we're going to do. So I'll do an example very similar to what we did. In fact, we'll just go ahead and use the same problem that we did in class. All right, so if you had x squared plus 10 minus 10x plus 16, what you've got there, we know it's going to be a parabola. That much is determined by the fact that the leading term is x squared. Okay. The problem is, how do you do it without making a table of values of every single possible value? And the goal with that is just to find three key points: the intercepts and the vertex. So let's put that over here. The key points are the x-intercepts and the vertex. If we could find both those, we got most of the key information you'd ever really need for a parabola. Anything else can be got from the table values or by using a graphing utility. All right, so as we've said before, if you want to factor this, your leading term is x squared, so your two factors of that are just going to be x and x, because those multiply to give you x squared. 16, there's two possible ways. It could be 8 and 2, or it could be 4 and 4. Technically, it would be 1 and 16, but we know that's not going to work because it's not going to give us 10 in the middle. Similarly, 4 and 4 will not give us 10 in the middle. The only ones that will give us 10 in the middle is 8 and 8. And as we've talked about, you check that with the cross product, we'd have an 8x, a 2x, and those will add up to a 10x. Okay, we got a 10x. The problem is now we needed a negative 10. No big deal. As long as we switch both of these to negative, that'll still give us a positive 16 when we multiply, because a negative times a negative is a positive. And the middle term will be a negative 10. So then our factors right here are x minus 8, x minus 2. All right. Now, what we're going to do, as mentioned, is we're looking for the intercepts. The x-intercepts occur on the x-axis, and anywhere on the x-axis, your y value is 0. So we're going to set that equal to 0. Okay. The reason this works is the only way a multiplication here is what we have. The only way a multiplication can give you a 0, one of these factors must be 0. Or both of them could be 0, and which case, so we're looking for any number that would make this a 0. So if we solve this by setting the equal to 0, that'll give us one intercept. Solve this by setting the equal to 0, that'll give us a second intercept. Let's move this down a little bit. Okay. Solving this is just a basic one-step equation. We add 8 to both sides. X equals 8. Add 2 to both sides. X equals 2. Those are our two intercepts. Okay, now that we got our two intercepts, we need to graph them. Okay, so those are our key points. They're on the x-axis. And again, it's very, very important that you make your graph's nice and straight. So we're going to start with a nice straight x-axis, and I'm going to put more of the positive side than the negative side, because really what we need, since both our intercepts are on the positive side, that's what we need to focus on. So slide this down a little bit. Let's go ahead and number this. And again, even if you don't have graph paper, you can still make a very nice looking graph. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 2, 4, 6, 8. And let's go ahead and put 2 points right there. Our two intercepts. Right there and right there. Okay. So now we know the intercepts. Now let's assume you didn't know whether it was opening up or down. This one we know is going to open upwards because it's positive x squared. Okay, but let's assume we didn't know that. Well, the thing is, a parabola is always going to have a line of symmetry going down the middle. Okay, so in the middle of 2 and 8, we need to know what that is. The middle of 2 and 8 is the average of 2 and 8, or the midpoint of 2 and 8. That's all an average is. It's finding the number that's in the middle. So 2 and 8 would be 10. divided by 2, that would give us 5. What that's telling us is the midline, the line of symmetry, will be at 5. Now, you could have done that in your head, but let's assume if it was tougher numbers or if they were decimals, that's where doing the midpoint, doing the average right there like we did, sort of helps it out. Okay, so we know it's somewhere on 5. Okay, well, how far down is it? That's what we got to figure out. So what we need to do is now make a room for a little table of values and plug in 5. Now, we could plug in more and more points, but really just 5's enough because we'll find out where it is, how low it is. So we plug 5 into our original equation. We get 5 squared minus 10 times 5 plus 16. And what this is the original equation. Remember, our original equation was x squared minus 10x plus 16. All we're doing is plugging in 5 into there. Okay, now, it's critical. You must follow the order of operations here. 25 minus 50 plus 16. Order of operations, once you have just subtraction and addition, you're just going to move from left to right. Left to right, we'll get negative 25 plus 16. That will give us negative 9 equals. Okay. So what that's telling us is 5 comma negative 9. When x is 5, y is negative 9. So we got to go down on our y-axis, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And negative 9 is where our y-intercept would be at 5 and negative 9. There it is. That's our vertex. The rest is just sketching the graph. So we know it goes through here. We know it goes through there. So let's make a smooth curve as best as we can. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but as long as you get in those points, try and make it as nice and smooth of a curve as possible. And there you go. You've got the vertex, you've got the intercepts, and you've just graphed a parabola by using factoring. That's one of the main reasons we're going to use factoring this year, is to help us graph stuff. So if this makes sense, you're in great shape, because as we get into higher level math, sorry about that. As you get into the next chapters and stuff, when we're graphing things of x to the third, x to the fourth, it'll just have more intercepts, but the factoring will not change. That's still going to be one of our key methods. All right, thank you for watching, and please feel free to email me if you have any questions.